Okay, what I'm going to look at now is because someone's basically asked me some sort of advice on teams, playing teams, and playing pairs, and kind of what's the difference, and maybe some advice on what to do on uh, certain times. So first things first, I'm just going to show you this exciting document. Okay, so imagine we're playing in a team. So there's 8 people in the team. We play on one side, east west, and our pair play north south in the other room. Okay, so imagine that we are overbidders, or we like to bid our games all the time, and the opposition team like to play it safe and they don't bid up. They like to keep it lower. Okay, so let's have a look at the scoring and how vulnerability and can affect the scores. So imagine we're playing in a non-vulnerable, non-making game. Okay, so we play in 4 spades, let's say. Okay, and we go off by 1. Okay, so that'd be 50 points to the opposition. So that's the 50 there. And in the other room, they don't go to 4 spades. They play in 2 spades. Okay, 2 spades would score, and they make 9 tricks, so that'd get 140. Okay, so the combined scores are 190. So they would have made 190 on the board. So that means we lose minus 5 imps. We lose 5 imps. Okay, so let's look at now, let's pretend now that that non-vulnerable game actually makes this time. So this time we score 420. Okay, and in the other room, they score 170. So the difference this time is 250. So this time we're on the right side of things, but we've gained 6. So if we presume one game is, say, on a finesse, so basically 50% of the time it makes and 50% of the time it doesn't make, there isn't really a lot of difference when it comes to non-vulnerable games, whether they make or don't make. Okay, there's 1 imp difference. So there's still a slight advantage for bidding a game where it might be on a finesse, let's say. Okay, so there's only a 1 imp difference. A 1 imp game if you bid the game and it makes. Okay, so let's now look at this bit of the table. This is a vulnerable not making game. So in the other room, they only bid to 2 spades and they get 140 again. The score hasn't changed. But this time we've gone off vulnerable and we lose 100. So the combined scores for their team is they make plus 240. So they're making plus 240. So in imps terms, when we convert it to imps, we lose 6 imps. Okay, now let's look at the positive side this time. We're in a vulnerable making game. So this time we make 10 tricks in 4 spades and we get 620. And they also make 170 because they're in a part score, making, say, 2 spades, and they make 10 tricks and they get 170. So the difference then becomes 450. Now this time you can see there's a much bigger difference. Here there's only a 1 imp game if you bid the non-vulnerable game and it makes. This time though, there's a 4 imp difference. Okay, there's a 4 imp difference. So you may have heard the expression, bid your vulnerable games, but don't bid your non-vulnerable games. Okay, so if you're not sure whether something, if you don't think it's going to make or it's close, okay, so it's just basically on a finesse. If it's vulnerable, then you should definitely go for it because you gain 4 imps. Whereas non-vulnerable, there is not much to gain. So let's have a look at some boards. Okay, so here we go. This is sort of an example. So non-vulnerable. Okay, so here we bid a spade. Let's just bid it, 1 spade. Let's say they pass. South bids 2 spades. Okay, pass. And then North decides, so North can decide two things here. Think, I don't really think game's on. I've got a 16 count and partner's made a minimum bid of 2 spades. I think I'll pass. So this is like the team that thinks, I'm just happy to play in 2 spades. So they might pass. Okay. And another team might think, oh, let's make a trial bid. And they decide to bid 3 clubs. Say, partner, I need some help in clubs. South thinks, well, I've got help in clubs. That's positive. I'm going to bid 4 spades. So that's how 2 teams might see things differently. One team will think, I'll bid 4 spades. Alternative, this hand here could think, well, I've only got 6 points, and rather than bid 4 spades, I think, I'll just bid 3 spades. I don't have a 9 count or something like that, and I'll just bid 3 spades and pass in 3 and just bid 3 spades. Okay, so here we look at this, and they lead a heart. Okay, so they end up losing a heart. You've got to lose a club, and here the diamond finesse doesn't work. So here you'd go 1 off if you're in 4 spades, and you'd make it if you're only in 2 spades or 3 spades, you'd make your 9 tricks. So there's basically the difference that we're talking about, depending on whether the king of diamonds is over here or here. Okay, let's have another look at the next hand. So on this particular occasion, so we've got the same kind of hand, but this time we're vulnerable, and the diamond is offside again, so we'd go off. Okay, so here we'd lose 100, and the opposition would still get their 140. So if we go back to our document, okay, we can see the difference here. So non-vulnerable, we're only gaining an imp. Vulnerable, we're gaining 4 imps if it makes. And so that's why this expression, bid up if you're vulnerable, bid your games when you're vulnerable, and don't bid them when you're non-vulnerable. So I hope that's a little bit of help towards your teams. Let's have a look at some other instances, some other things that can come up. You redeal. Okay. So South this time opens a club and pass. North bids a diamond. Next hand passes. And 6, 12, 13, 17. You decide to, well, it depends on your bidding style here, but let's say you bid 2 no trumps to set it, you've got, say, an 18 count. Okay, you upgrade it, you like the clubs to, you upgrade it to an 18 count, and you bid 2 no trumps. Okay, pass. North thinks I've got a nice stack of diamonds here, looks like I've got 6 tricks. I'll bid 3 no trumps. Okay, and everyone passes. Okay, so get the lead of the jack of spades. Okay, spades haven't been bid. Okay, and that could be from ace jack 10. So you go up with the king. Okay, it isn't. So you count your tricks and you think, well, I've got 2 spade tricks, 6 diamonds most likely. That's 8. Heart is 9. Club is 10. So whew, this is looking good. So I'll decide to go up with this rather than duck it. Okay, because if everything's right, I might be able to get a lot of tricks here. You then play a diamond. Okay, let's play this, say. Okay, and before I play all the diamonds off, I'm just going to play a club first, because I can still get back to the diamonds. I'm just going to assume the diamonds break evenly for now, but I'm going to play a club back. And this hand with king X decides to go up with a king. Okay, because they're going to take the finesse, but I'd rather the other hand, if it's got long clubs, can potentially hold up. So I'm going to go in with a king. South thinks, oh, that's nice for me. I'll go with the ace now. Another club. And well, I'll play off the diamonds now. play a diamond. Great, the diamonds have broke. Queen of diamonds. Right, I'm going to hold on to my clubs. Chuck a heart. What am I going? I've got to keep my clubs. I've got to keep the queen anyway. Doesn't look the right. Looks like my partner might have just a singleton king, so or king X. So it doesn't look like these are any good. Yeah, I'm just going to tell my partner what I've got in clubs here. That's no use. I'll just keep that now. Play another diamond. Don't really like spades, partner. Okay, throwing that off. Ugh, Queen of hearts. Well, these aren't much good then. And throw that away. Play that. Now play a club. Force the queen out. Boom. Play another spade. And you've got the rest of the tricks. Okay. Okay, keep going. 12 tricks. So that would happen quite a lot of the time. So let's have a look at that again, though. Let's have a look at it from a team's perspective. Let's redo this and show you something else. So got a similar hand. We open a club. We pass, let's say. Bid a diamond. Pass. We bid 2 no trumps. Pass. 3 no trumps. 3 no trumps. Pass. 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 Okay, so we get the same lead. Jack of spades. Spade. And we do the same thing. Go in with the king. Think, well, got lots of tricks. 6 diamonds. Okay. I'll go with the ace. Okay, so this time though, we're playing teams and we've got to think how we're going to make this contract. Now let's suppose these diamonds break badly. Let's suppose they break 4-1. Okay, because when we play teams, if we make a couple of over tricks, we only get like a couple of imps. Okay, whereas if we go off in a contract, it costs us dearly. It costs us more imps. So if they make a game in one room, they'll get, this is a vulnerable game, so they'll make, say, 600 or 630, that kind of thing. Whereas if we go off, okay, we'll lose 100. So the difference will be quite a lot, okay, in terms of imps. You're looking at like 12 imps. Okay, so for the sake of, say, an over trick, which might only be worth 1 or 2 imps, a contract where if you play for what's known as a safety play and play for the diamonds breaking badly, you can still make your contract. So if we add up our tricks here, we've got 1, 2 spade tricks, we've got a heart trick is 3 and a club trick is 4. Okay, now if the diamonds break evenly, 3-2 or better, then we're going to make 6 diamond tricks. But if they break badly, which in this situation they do, and we were to play off the top diamonds, ace, king, queen, we can't get back to this hand and enjoy these other diamonds. Okay, so it's potential that we could go off. Okay, we've only got 3 diamond tricks and we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we can't make 3 no trumps. But if we can make 5 diamond tricks, and we've got our 4 tricks here, ace, queen of spades, ace, ace, we've got 9 tricks. So what we can do is we can play what's known as a safety play. And this kind of play happens a lot in teams where you wouldn't make the same play in pairs, because a 3-2 break will happen something like 68% of the time. Okay, and a 4-1 break will happen, is it about 28% or something like that? Okay, so it's more likely, much more likely that the diamonds are going to break 3-2. So what we can do is we can put in rather than play the ace, king or queen here, we can make a safety play just in case south has 4 diamonds. So let's put in the 10. We can afford to put in the 10, okay? Just in case north has, say, 4 or 5 diamonds with the jack and the 9. So we can put in the 10. There's no point in playing the 5 or 7. That'll just be a silly play, okay? We can afford to put in the 10. Okay, now south would be daft not to cover with a jack because they can see all of these diamonds making. So if he ducks, he's not going to win his jack of diamonds, okay? So he's got to cover with that. And then he comes back a spade, partner's lead suit. Okay, and going with a queen, let's say. And now we play the diamonds. Okay, ace, king, queen. And you can see the bad news that they broke 4-1. Keep going. Getting a bit squeezed here. Got 7 tricks, right? Let's pretend we didn't really know what was going on, what was being discarded. I think, right, what the hell? I'm just going to make sure of my contract. Okay, so we've made our 9 tricks, we made our contract, and then we can just give in then. Claim. How many tricks do you claim? I claim. There we go, concede the rest. 9 tricks. Whereas if we didn't play that play, we'd win ace, king of diamonds, ace, king, queen of diamonds, and then the south hand would win the jack of diamonds. There'd be no more tricks coming from this. And they could just keep playing spades at us. And eventually we would end up going off in 3 no trumps. Okay, so you can make a safety play where you'll give up a trick, but it'll make sure you make the contract. And that's worth more imps, basically. So rather than losing 12 imps or something for going off in a contract, which was guaranteed, okay? I mean, unless this hand has 5 diamonds, okay? So this is what's known as a safety play, which you can play at teams, which you wouldn't play at pairs, okay? So that's the difference. You wouldn't play this at pairs. In pairs, you play it, as I suggested, the first way, and then you'd end up making 12 tricks if they break 3-2, and the clubs are as they were in the first example. Okay, so let's have another look at something else. Okay, so north bids 1 heart, and the east hand bids 3 spades, preemptive. South bids, oh, let's actually put in the bids, might help. So north bids 1 heart, east bids 3 spades, preemptive, and south bids, oh, I fancy this, I'll bid 4 hearts. And next hand decides, well, we're non-vulnerable. I can't see 4 hearts not making. I'll bid 4 spades. Pass. Oh, sorry. Undo. So North thinks, okay, yeah, we're vulnerable, but I'm not sure whether they can make or not. So at teams, quite often you'll double and basically take the money. You are vulnerable, but you think, right, this is going off quite a few. Okay, I'll definitely take the money, as in double. Okay, you got aces and your partner's bid 4 hearts. You can't be sure whether 5 hearts is necessarily making or not, but you think 4 spades is definitely off. So what it is you're taking the money, hoping to get 500 points, whereas if you make a vulnerable game, you get 620. So there's not a big difference between 500 and 620. But where there is a big difference is if you fail to make 5 hearts, okay, let's say you go one off, let's say you bid to 5 hearts and it doesn't make, okay, if you bid to 5 hearts and it doesn't make, then you're losing more points basically. So the difference between the two isn't as much. So that's my advice there. Oh, my dog's barking. Let's have another look at another hand. So basically in teams, take the money and make sure you get some points. I'm just going to skip this hand. So this is a similar hand where the splits are not as good. Okay. Deal. Okay. So South bids a spade. And then this hand here with 6 fives decides to bid, rightly or wrongly, decides to bid 2 spades, showing at least 5 hearts and 5 of a minor. Oh, the dogs are going nuts. And then the North hand decides to bid 3 spades. And then East then supports and bids 4 hearts. And then South then bids 4 spades. Now, 4 spades may or may not make, but when you're playing teams, just think, how far is 4 spades going to go off? Okay. And how far is 5 hearts going to go off? Okay. So you can't be sure when you've got these weird distributions. Partner supported the hearts. Could they have like a double fit? Could they have spades and diamonds? Okay. We've possibly got hearts and clubs, or I've got hearts and clubs in this hand. How far am I going to go off in hearts? So what I'd advise here is, rather than just doubling 4 spades or passing 4 spades, you're not going to go very far off in 5 hearts. Okay. Whereas in pairs, if you go off one, it could result in a bottom. At teams, you go off one at teams and you lose 100 or you lose 50 or something like that. Now that's a big difference. So in teams, if you're unsure whether they're making or you're making or not making, I would suggest bid up. So on this particular auction now, I would bid 5 hearts. Okay. And then it's up to them what they want to do there. They might then think, oh, I'll bid 5 spades. Okay. But let's suppose it goes pass, pass, pass. Okay. You lose no spades. You lose a diamond. You lose a club, and then you can rough the rest. So on this particular occasion, you can potentially make 5 hearts as long as they don't lead a heart, which would be a bit of an incredible lead on that auction. Okay, so as long as they don't lead a heart, then you can be roughing 3 clubs, and you should end up making 5 hearts. But the thing is, there's a very good chance that they'll make 4 spades. So whether you make 5 hearts or not, in a way, doesn't make as much difference. You have to make sure that if you've got any doubt whether they're making game or not, and you're not going to go very far off in your own game, then you should bid your game. Okay, so I hope that helps in your ideas of pairs and teams. Okay, so see you again.